Hey, this is Kelly LeMieux from Buckcherry, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Kelly LeMieux of Buckcherry.
Yeah, promoting, an upcoming tour with Skid Row. And they got some new music in Buckcherry?
Working on a new album, be out sometime 2023, and if you haven't checked out Hellbound from 21, get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, great interview.
All right.
Let's get to it.
Good night.
Good night. Kelly, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you, my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Kelly, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey,
Well,
thanks for having me.
so exciting. Like I said, were kind of briefly talking before we were recording here. Saw you in Davenport, Iowa last May, and we had to get you on the podcast. So thank you for agreeing to do this.
Oh, man, my pleasure.
Absolutely. So Buckcherry will be touring with Skid Row this March. Can you talk a little bit more about this, how this opportunity came across for you and the rest of the band?
Yeah, we actually, when I first came into the band in 2013, I think in 14 we did a European run with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was only a couple weeks, and we all hit it off. They're all awesome dudes, and that's when Johnny, who just passed away, their old singer, was he was singing for them,
right, yeah.
And I think it was just kind of one of those lingering things where everybody was like, hey, man, we should go out with Skid Row, man. And we're like, yeah. So I think it finally just happened. They got the new singer and their new record came out and the timing was right. So we're going out in March. I'm looking forward to it. I love those guys.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah.
This is going to be a 4-week tour, brief. In this
I think it's just under 4 weeks. It was supposed to be a little longer, and their singer actually, he had leukemia also. We're both leukemia survivors.
Awesome.
And I think he had to go back early for some tests. Nothing's like, I know the drill,
Right.
You got to go in I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll have this conversation. I'm not sure how long ago he had his, but the first year after you come out of remission, you have to go. Was this great? We go right into cancer. Comedy killer. Thank God it's not a comedy podcast. Yeah. You have to go in like I had to do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I know he's probably going through the same thing. I'm not sure how long he's been over it or out of it or through it or under it. But I think he had to go back a little bit early to get tested. I'm not sure if he lives in the States or if he lives. I think he's Norwegian, isn't he?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think he's Norwegian. So I think there was an issue where he had to go back and get his blood tested. So I get it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yep.
Is what it is. But yeah, it's just a little under a month. I think it was going to be a little bit longer. But I will say the response has been really cool with the double bill. And I personally I'm hoping we get to do more dates.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
We do too. We want you to
As
come
they
back
say,
our way.
more will be revealed.
Yeah, this is a tour that's pretty much all of the month of March, right in the middle of spring break. Was that kind of like the ideology behind it? As soon as that weather breaks, let's get out on the road.
To be honest, I don't know. Honestly, we were. I was told we were going to be on a hiatus until May.
Oh, wow.
So I think the timing just came up where I'm sure our booking agent talked to their booking agent and and the timing was just like, we're going for March. So I don't know. Could have been, sure, yeah, that's it. I don't know.
Very good. Jeff, you got the next one?
Well, when we were talking right before we started, you had kind of alluded to a post-tour depression one time. Can you talk a little bit about that and how did that affect you and how do you shake it off?
That's a real thing. I didn't know it was like, I just always, because I've been doing this, I've been touring since the early 90s, and I always noticed when I was out for a long time and I would come home, the first day you're just kind of like, exhausted. And then the second day you're like, I'm going to do stuff. And then about the third or fourth day you start going, man, I'm just really bummed out. What's going on? I'm like, around like 9 o'clock at night, I start getting antsy, and I'll pick my bass up and start practicing. And I'm like going, oh, it's about the time we would go on stage, isn't it? So it's like, I think your body gets used to that repetition, and it's like, when you tour, you're constantly moving. I always tell everyone, it's just like touring is almost a bit like time travel in a weird way, where you're moving. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm moving because I'm in a bus that is rolling down the freeway. So you're just in constant motion. And I think there's just like when you hit the brakes and you're home and everything just it's like this crazy inertia that just sets in where it's just like you feel like a rock that's been at the bottom of a muddy riverbed for 1,000 years when you just been moving, and then all of a sudden it's like
yeah.
I was just gonna say, and then you talk to your friends who are like have regular jobs and 9-to-5ers, and you come home and you're all like. Everybody's like, hey, man, what have you been up to? And you're like, dude, I went here, I went there, I saw Alice Cooper, I met Alice Cooper, I did this, went for Iron Maiden, I was over here, I went to Australia, and then you come back, and then you stop because you realize you're talking about yourself too much, and you go, what have you been up to? And they look at you and go, with a big sigh,
no.
Yeah, just working. And you're like, fuck, sorry I asked. So it's a trip, man. It's really a trip. And then you can actually, I Googled it. It's an actual real thing, post-tour depression.
Well,
Google it. It's in there.
It's funny that you would say that because I remember, watching a documentary about Metallica, about the 2-year-long Black Album tour. Kirk Hammett was well documented saying, I was on tour for 2 years, and all of a sudden I got dropped off at home, and what am I supposed to do after going for 2 years?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's kind of hard for us common folk to understand where you guys are coming from because for me I'd be like, aren't you just glad to be home? But I guess that's not really the case.
Well,
is it?
you are glad to be home, but then all of a sudden, like I said, the inertia sets in where you're just like, everything's quiet, nothing's moving, your bros are gone. You spend day in and day out. And, at first you're like, yeah. I mean, I love all those guys. But it's like sometimes you're just like, man, I need a break. And then you get that break and you're like, I miss my buddies, and it's like, and then it takes a little while and then you just kind of roll back into it. And I'm one of those, I mean, I think we all are in Buckcherry. Like the guys have kids, a couple of guys have kids and everybody's got their little, things that they're doing. So I just kind of like try to I try to get into like a nice workout regimen so I don't get flabby when we go back out. And I actually I have a cover. I'm actually like, when you asked me, I was like going, it's not 6:30 or 7:30 my time, right? Because I have rehearsal. I have a, just for fun, I put a new wave cover band, like an 80s new wave cover band together with a bunch of my bros in town.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Because it gives me something to do.
Absolutely.
And so I was just sitting here, right before I called you guys, doing laundry and listening to Lips Like Sugar.
Nice.
You know, trying to like, all right, how's that bass line? All right, cool. All right, I got it. And so, yeah, we're actually doing our first show on the 21st. And, you know, it's just, I got to have something to keep me happy. And plus I was, you know, you guys are going to be off till May. And I'm like, I can't not play music. I have to play music.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, very good.
Sorry, guys, I'm going to need a replacement for March. Which is, you know what? It's all good, man. I love it. I get to play. I'm fortunate. I'm grateful. I just love to play music.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. You know, with Buckcherry's body of work, you know, how does the band put a set list together as far as, you know, like for instance, this 4-week run you're going to do in March? How do you guys put a set list together? Quite a few albums, you know?
Well, we let Josh put it together because he's got to sing it, and some songs are harder to sing than others, and he doesn't want to do certain songs in certain spots, and I totally get it. So we just kind of let him put the set list together, and you know, we'll be like, hey, or like if we do a fly date, and we've only, because you know we have I don't even know how many tunings Billy has alone, because he has open G. I think there's an open D and A. We have an A44 or E440, whatever, E440, and then a lot of the stuff's in E flat, and just me alone. And then we do we have E standard, E flat, and D standard. So I alone have 4 different tunings. So sometimes when it's like we only have 2 guitars and Josh will put a set list together, we'll be like, can you put this song next to this song? Because our tech's got to retune the other guitar and it's not going to be good. So there's a lot of that, like logistics. But when we're out on full force tour, we just let, and the first 2 songs are usually scripted. And then, you know, we always have to play Sorry. We always have to play Lit Up. We always have to play Crazy Bitch.
Oh, yeah.
And then the rest is just kind of like, you know, Josh he'll you know, he actually sends out the set list. We'll get an email like that day, even if we're like sitting right next to him. He just sends a mass email out to all of us, including our tour manager. And then I'll look at it and go, all right. And then I'll, you know, sit down with the techs and go, oh yeah, we're going to have, let's use this bass on this one. And so it's pretty interesting sometimes. It's, you know, it's the wild, wild west every now and again, but you know, that's kind of how it rolls. But yeah, we're just like, all right, Josh, you know, what are you thinking? We just finished a new record. It's in between everything. Mm-hmm. We went to Nashville and just did a new record. That's already mixed. I think they're looking at a June release.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, cool.
No, dude, we do not. Can I swear on this?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Is this a swearing one or a non-swearing? I don't have to swear, but
be yourself.
I'm just going to say, we don't fuck around.
Well, the last album.
We did the Kiss cruise, and then we got off the boat, went to LAX. We got off the boat in Long Beach, went to LAX, flew to Nashville, and started the record the next day. Was there for a week. And then we were supposed to have, we had a week and a half off. I, of course, being the glutton for punishment and the dude that just loves to play, I went and flew down to L.A. and did 2 rehearsals with my old band Goldfinger. Their bass player, Mike, who replaced me, Herrera, couldn't do it. And they hit me up a while ago, and I'm like, dude, I have like a week and a half off. So I flew down there, rehearsed, flew out to the East Coast, did 2 awesome sold-out shows with those guys in Baltimore at the Ram's Head, and then we did Sayreville, New Jersey at the Starland. And then I flew home, and then 3 days later flew out to Australia. Went to Australia. That was 10 days. Came home, had 1 day off. Then we flew to Phoenix. We did Tucson, 2 Tucson and LA or Riverside, and then did another. I was like a private party thing in about 4 hours from Phoenix. I can't remember the city. It was out in the middle of nowhere, and then it was really cool actually. And then flew home, and then that was like the 11th. So we just go, man. We're already. I think we're, I don't want to give away our whole game plan, but I think we're going to be shooting a couple videos in the next month or two, and then we'll rehearse for the Skid Row, and then we'll go do the Skid Row, and then I don't even know what's after that.
Nice.
Very cool.
But I know the records, they're looking at it tentatively, everything's suspect to change because, it's not written in stone, but that's the tentative plan is a June release.
Very good.
Well, the band's last album was 2021 Hellbound. What a great album. I was just listening to that while I was working out yesterday, and I had just listened to Aerosmith Rocks.
It's a good workout record, huh?
Yeah, and I'd listened to Aerosmith Rocks right before it, and the song Gun kind of jumped out at me as kind of having a Aerosmith feel to it. Am I off on that one?
Well, you're going to hear more of that.
Cool.
You'll hear more of that. There's this one's definitely, without giving anything away, it's definitely, you'll hear a little more of that. If you like that one, there's some more you'll like.
Very cool.
On the new record.
Well, with Hellbound being released in 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic, can you talk a little bit more about the writing, recording, I guess the all creation process of this album during the pandemic times? How did it work out for you and the rest of the band?
Well, Josh, Stevie, and then we work with Marty Fredrickson. He did the last record, and then he did this one, and then he's actually written with those guys. I think he wrote the bridge and Sorry, if I'm not mistaken, on the 15 record, and then he's done some stuff. I think he did some stuff on Black Butterfly, all that before I came in. And so there was a bunch of stuff demoed out, and then we all kind of just sit down and learn all the stuff, and then we get in the studio and just kind of pick it apart and hammer it out, and then you guys hear what we did. There's really no magic to it. It's just like, and then we've always got I think we had 30 songs coming into this.
Oh, cool.
Coming into this, and then we actually had some other tunes that didn't get recorded on the record that were demoed out that we kind of re-demoed ourselves just to kind of have them in our back pocket in case, somebody in a movie was like, hey, man, you got a spare song laying around or something? And they're all really good songs.
Well, I guess...
So we've always got a surplus. Man, Josh will poop out lyrics that guy's just constantly writing. He's got lyrics just... that guy writes fast.
Yeah.
Him and Stevie, they write fast. Marty's amazing. They've got a formula, I just as much as I write too, but it's just like, what, I'm not going to come in there and just be like, hey, play my song. I just like, what, it worked on the last record. Until it stops working, I'm just going to shut the hell up and just chew bubble gum and kick ass.
Well, I guess with you saying that, we've talked to many artists, during the COVID lockdown, that it felt as though that the time away from touring gave them some type of creative renaissance. Did that come out at all, or was that just kind of like business as usual for you guys?
Man, it's business as usual. Pandemics, whatever. We, as long as people are coming to shows, or even if they're not, we're going to record. We're going to do something. We all like to work. We're all workaholics. Nobody in the band drinks anymore. Everybody's I think everybody's double-digit non-drinkers now. I'm going on 18 years in March. I haven't had a drink of alcohol, not intentionally. Somebody sat a drink in front of me before, and I went, yeah, that's not my soda. That's a Jack and Coke. But for the most part, yeah, nobody drinks anymore, and we're all when you don't have that, I think we're all kind of wired to where, we're all different, but we're all pretty similar in a lot of ways, and Everybody's got a lot of energy, even in our 50s. You know, we're not spring chickens, but we still go out. And you know what? We'll go out there and cut heads with the youngest and the best of them. We don't care. We've never, like, we're a live band through and through. As much as we all love recording, I mean, shit, we knocked that record out in a week. We pride ourselves on being a live band. So, you know, I think we're all just wired to go, 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 go.
Oh, very good.
Really, we don't really take breaks. We need to. We should. But it's like everybody starts getting antsy. Like, I'm already like, that's why I was just like, oh, hey, guys, my buddy's in town. I'm like, I'm going to have like 4, 5, 6 months off. Let's do something. I got a bunch of really talented buddies in this town that all play and are great players. And we had like a rock cover band. And I'm just like, man, I don't want to play rock. I got a killer rock band. I don't need to play rock anymore. And I was like, oh, let's do a new wave band, man.
Yeah.
So I want to put my pointy shoes and, you know, get all wavy and my fuchsia suit on. Let's go.
Very good.
You think I'm joking, but I'm not.
No, we love it.
Yeah, that's right up our wheelhouse, man.
Yeah, I love all that stuff. I mean, I'm pretty eclectic. I listen to all kinds of stuff. I'm as much of a AC/DC fan as I love The Cure. I love all, you know, I mean, I'll listen to jazz. I'll listen to R&B. I love funk. Love playing funk. You know, like, you know, I'm just, music's just, if it's good, it's good. I mean, you know, I know you got to stereotype, whatever. You got to put everything in its place, but it's like, you know, good music's good music and shitty music's just no good.
Amen.
So I don't know if this is a question, but we were talking right before we got started again. That we both, Eric and I, just recently saw you guys open for Alice Cooper here in Downport at the Adler. Man, what a great show! Can you talk a little bit about getting to play with Alice Cooper? Or play open for Alice?
That was honestly probably one of my favorite tours, just because I love Alice and all the kids. I say kids because you can't say guys because Nita was in the band too, but all the kids, and Tommy always said, "Hey, good morning, kids." I love all that band is awesome. Alice is just super sweet. Cheryl, his wife, is awesome. The whole crew were amazing. They welcomed us in, and you know, we already knew, like, Tommy and Ryan and Glenn and Chuck and just a bunch of sweethearts. And I went out and watched Alice every single night.
Yeah.
I was, at least, if I didn't watch the whole set, I at least watched half of the set. And we got to go out the last show and do Schools Out. And, man, it was so freaking awesome. And, you know, it was kind of a dream come true for me because, I mean, Alice is a freaking icon, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that guy's been around since the late 60s, early 70s.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like, yeah, it was awesome. I wanted to bring this back to Hellbound. Junk is my favorite track off that album. It gives me that heavy, sleazy blues feeling on when I listen to it.
It's got a little sleazy GNR vibe to it.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the recording process for that song? Did you guys knock it out pretty quickly, or was that challenging for you guys?
That song, I mean, I literally. I do my homework, and Francis and we knocked the rhythm tracks out in literally 2 days, the whole record. Same with this new record. I mean, I think I maybe, like, actual sitting in the studio and recording time, I kind of kept an eye on it, on like how long it would take. I think I did this new record, and I'm not saying it to brag, but it's like we do our homework. And it's rock and roll. We're not playing. It's not Paul Gilbert. I've done records with Paul Gilbert. We would rehearse all morning on one song and then knock it out after we go eat lunch. And then we do it, you know, try to record it all pretty much live. And then he would go. I think I spent 5 hours total recording time on this new record.
Oh, wow.
Myself. I knocked out. I know I did half of the record in like two hours the second day. It was just like. But it's one of those things where it's like we'll come in and Francis will play his drum part and he'll kind of like change a little bit up because he's like, I think it would be better if we did this, and you know, I think Marty trusts us enough now to where he'll let us try things, and he'll be like, oh yeah, that's better, do that. So stuff will get switched up a little tiny bit here and there. But you know, junk, I just remember going in there and knocking it out in like 2 takes. I'm like, all right, next. Like we do our homework, man. We don't mess around.
That's truly great. Amazing. Yeah, truly amazing.
Yeah. Like I said, we did the whole record, like literally in like a week. I'm not kidding you. Josh had, you know, they'll go to Stevie and Josh will go to Nashville, and they have, you know, we had some songs already done, and then they'll write some stuff and work on stuff with Marty too, and they'll go in there, and actually when they demo the stuff out, they'll try and get really kick-ass vocal tracks for Josh in the first place. And I think he only, like, he kicked so much ass on the demos that I think they kept like half of the demos. And Marty was like, nope, this is great. Josh was like, I love it, let's just keep it. And then he would, if, you know, like, you know, he'll switch, maybe he'll try a different chorus on something, and like, you know how it is, just kind of like, you know, putting something together, you're like, you know, from scratch, or any kind of art, you're like, you know what? I think we need to turn left here instead of right. And then, you know, but we'll get back over here. And so there's a little bit of room for that, but we're so quick. And we're, you know, everybody's in gig shape. So it's just like, no, it's not like, I can't play this. My forearm's killing me. I've been sitting on the couch for 5 months. You know, it's like we go in there and we're like, bam. And Francis is a total, you know, you know, we're, you know, my buddy, my best friend, and that I went to high school with, he's a fire chief, battalion chief. I live in Portland, Oregon. He's where I grew up south of here in Salem. He's a battalion chief in Albany, Oregon. And my buddy Ryan, and he was telling the, oh God, what do they call it to the new guys? The probies. They're on probation. Yeah. And he was telling me, he goes, how did he say that? I'm probably going to fuck it up, but I thought it was genius. He said, reputation will follow you around. He goes, if you have a good reputation, it'll follow you around. If you have a bad reputation, it'll get there way before you.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. That is for sure.
And I always say reputation is a fragile thing. If you don't have your reputation as a musician or as a player or as a person, you're not going to get the calls. You're not, you know what I mean? It's like you're only on stage, you know, an hour, 20 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours. If you're Bruce Springsteen, 3 hours. But the rest of the time's the hang time, man. And if you can't hang, you're not going to get the gig, man. Jaco, I say this all the time, Jaco Pastorius, bass player extraordinaire, arguably the Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen of electric fretless bass. Towards the end of his career, he could not buy his way into a gig because he was such a nightmare, and he ended up tragically dying. You know, and it's just like he couldn't get a gig because he was a self-medicating, you know, pretty sure he was a self-medicating bipolar, and he just couldn't get a gig because he was just a nightmare. So if you're a nightmare, you're not going to get a gig. I don't care how good you are, you know. You can be confident, but don't be an arrogant prick.
Absolutely. Jeff, you got the next one?
Well, yeah. So we've already kind of briefly touched in this podcast a little bit about leukemia and being a survivor, which is good news. Can you talk a little? I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but I guess I'll leave that up to you.
You know what? I've already talked about this in a bunch of other podcasts. So I don't. It's in the rearview mirror.
I guess, yeah. How are you doing?
Honestly, it was, and I've said this before. It was honestly less traumatizing. My mom had. I think it's called glioblastoma, which is what John McCain had. It's a brain cancer, and it's non-curable. My mom went through that about 13, 14 years ago, and from diagnosis to her, you know, demise, it was only 7 weeks, and that was way more traumatizing than what I went through. I was okay, you know. I don't really. I mean, don't consider myself religious or even traditionally spiritual, which. You know, a lot of people scoff at that word, but I think I have a pretty good concept of what's going on and, you know, what's real and what's a facade. And, you know, I just was like, you know what? My doctor had an amazing doctor, and he just goes, look, you're young, You're healthy. You got a strong heart. And he goes, genetically, because, they run your blood tests because that's how they do your little your chemo cocktails are customized to your blood. And he goes, you're in the top tier for beating this thing. And he goes, I think you got a good shot. And I went, fucking kick ass.
Yeah.
All I had to do is not die, and I didn't. So, it was a pain in the ass. Thought I was going to croak a couple times, but I didn't. And, from diagnosis to back on tour, I got diagnosed June, I think it was the 9th, June 9th. I should know this, 8th or 9th. I think it was the 9th. I got diagnosed on the 8th or the 9th of June. I was back on tour by Halloween.
Oh,
nice.
Wow. That's quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And those guys were like, they were freaking out. They were just like, I can't believe you're back. I had no hair, so I just wore a hat for a little while. But you know what? I was in a punk rock band, many punk rock bands, so I used to shave my head. I don't give a fuck. I got a perfectly round head. It looks good. Scott Ian told me I was lucky I had a good shaped head. Like, yeah.
All right,
so I just was, yeah.
I want to take this way back to 1996.
Yeah.
You were a member of MD45, a unique project featuring yourself, Dave Mustaine, Lee Ving, and Jimmy DeGrasso.
Yep.
Can you kind of talk about the how the opportunity came your way to join this project?
That's all thanks to my buddy Robert Trujillo. They wanted Robert to do it. Robert was doing Infectious Groove. They had an Australian tour booked at the same time. Robert called me up and he goes, hey, dude, Dave Mustaine's going to call you. I gave him your phone number. I'm all, huh? He goes, yeah. And he told me, I can't do it. They wanted me to do it. He goes, and he knew I was a massive Fear fan, one of my favorite punk rock bands, which ironically, Lee asked me to join the band a few months after that. And I just went and saw them. They just played here. At the Bossa Nova in Portland. I went and saw them on New Year's Eve, rung in the New Year's with Fear.
I saw that,
yeah. And my buddy Jeff Kresge is playing bass with them now, and awesome dude, also a freaking cancer survivor. And Robert called me up, told me, hey, Dave's gonna call you. Dave called me. And he goes, all right, well, clearly you can play. I guess I'll see you in a month or whatever it was. And he mailed me some cassette tapes that I think I might have somewhere around here. I don't know. I might be in storage in my basement somewhere. But went in, knocked that out. Jimmy kicked ass, amazing drummer. And, here we are talking about it.
Yeah, with the Craving being such a unique album, would we ever see a chance of an MD45 second album somewhere down the line? Has there ever been any talk about it?
We played with Megadeth in 2000. We did a gig with Megadeth and the Scorpions, which was awesome because I love the Scorpions too. And at the O2 Arena, which is also another I played the O2 Arena, yay me. It's like, these are all milestones. I mean, I still get giddy over, we got to play Budokan, and I was like, oh my God, I can't play, I'm playing Budokan. and because, Cheap Trick live at Budokan. I'm a huge Cheap Trick fan too.
Absolutely.
And I mean, any good band I'm a fan of. And so we did that show, and I ran into Dave, and, Dave talked about it, but it's like, I don't believe anything until management calls me and says, hey man, we're going to do a record. So there was talk of it, but I don't know. I'm going to go with probably not, but as I've learned in this industry, never say never.
Oh, very good. Very good. Jeff, you got another question?
Well, yeah. So I saw that, I don't know if this is recent or how recent it is, but School of Rock, Portland chapter that you were a guest instructor.
They opened about, 16 years ago. It's funny because some of the kids in that first class, I helped open it up. My buddy Carl opened the first one up here, and he asked me, hey man, I was actually still living in LA, but my family's they're all up here. Well, after my mom passed away, my dad moved to Phoenix, which the weather's so much better than here during the winter, which is funny. I'm like, why are you up here during the winter? Shouldn't I be there with you? Like, why am I not visiting you? We got snow. It was terrible and rain. And I was just like, but anyways, Yeah. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Well, just about being a guest instructor.
I'm like sitting here going like, I should probably eat today. Tell me the question again.
Well, just asking you about being a guest instructor for like School of Rock and what that entailed for you.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I started running again, and I kind of tried to run what I did, where I tried to pick up where I left off, and my ass is dragging today. I'm just like, wow. I'm like, I'm not even smoking weed. I just feel stupid today. So I apologize for that brain fart. I think I need to eat a little bit more too. I haven't really eaten anything today, and I'm like going like, I got rehearsal at 7. Got to remember these songs. I got to go over this. When I get off the phone with you, I'm going to run over the songs again. School of Rock. Yeah. So I helped do that. I was up here visiting, and he was like, hey man, do you want to help me do that? And that was a long time ago, 16 years ago, I think. And some of the kids are in bands around town playing and stuff. And,
nice.
and it's a trip. I'll run it. They're like, oh, I'm like, how old are they? They're like 23, 24. I'm just like, oh my God, you were like just this little squirt.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Well,
So yeah. I just ended up doing that. And then whenever I would come into town, he'd ask me to come in, and when I was playing with Goldfinger, we would take big breaks because, they hardly even do shows anymore. John's a big producer, and he doesn't want to go out and tour his ass off like we used to. So, I was always looking for stuff to do. And, it was really I'm not, like, super, like, learned, noted. I don't read music, but I've been doing it so long. I've got a lot of killer advice, and I've had to learn so much material that I'm pretty good at, helping people pick stuff out and do blah, blah, blah. But, it's really gratifying to watch kids have that aha moment where they go, oh, shit, you can see the wheels turning in their head when they figure something out. And you're like, oh, they got it. So it was pretty cool. I couldn't do it full time. Some people are amazing at it. As I was saying before, I worked with Paul Gilbert, and Paul's got an online school. Actually, Paul lives in Portland, too. He's about 3 miles from me. And, he's got an online school, and that guy, he teaches me. I did stuff with him, and every time I work with Paul, like, that guy's constantly like, he's like one of the best music teachers, and he's so good at it, and he's so patient, and it's I tip my hat to teachers just in general, because you really have to have a love for it, and you have to have like patience.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
All right, so I have one last question for you. We'll leave you alone for the evening.
No worries.
The mystery of rock and roll, I asked this to all of our guests, has kind of been taken away from us because of the internet and social.
100%.
And
100%. I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. There's no more mystery. Here's a video of the food I ate. Here's a video of me crapping the food I just ate.
Well, with that being said, though, with social media taking all the mystery away, you as the musician and the fan of rock and roll and any genre of music, I guess, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the mystery of rock and roll, or do you like this accessibility now? Because, hey, if we didn't have the internet, we wouldn't be doing this with you right now.
That is true. I like, personally, I consider myself a bit of a centrist. I'm a bit of a common sensor. I don't lean right. I don't lean left. Probably a little more left and right, but I'm when it comes to Mystique, I love Mystique. Also, I just want to say, really bummed out Jeff Beck passed away today.
Yeah,
that guy
yes.
was a freaking, to this day, until his passing, that guy's been constantly innovating guitar.
Yeah.
Like, since he started. And all of our heroes are getting old, man. They're all dying right now because those original rockers, they're old now, and some of those guys partied harder than others. But I prefer the Mystique myself. I do like, if somebody else wants to have the we have like Stevie takes care of a lot of the social media stuff. Some people are just more prone to that, and they really like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, cool. There needs to be a dude like that, but half the time I'll walk by the camera and flip the bird and just keep walking, just because I'm just like, oh, who's this mysterious asshole? You know what I mean? Yeah. But I do prefer the Mystique. I like But I like don't get me wrong. I sat here today while I was working out, doing laundry and all my stuff, and I watched 2 documentaries on the Angels, aka Angel City, from Australia.
Yes.
And it was awesome watching these documentaries, and kind of sad too. Musicians are pretty fucking tragic sometimes. Most artists can be really fucking tragic. So that was kind of like sad. I think Doc Neeson died from brain tumor too, also.
I believe so.
But I do like personally for me, I like the mystique. If somebody else wants to flaunt their junk on the internet, Tommy Lee, go for it. Whatever. That's on you.
Hey, well, we're out of our
we're
out of our allotted time for the evening. Is there anything that we left off tonight that you would like to plug or promote?
Gosh, no. We talked about the new. Did I just say gosh? I'm trying not to swear. No, I think we can just leave it with Tommy Lee's dick.
Sounds good. All right, so this is how things are going to work out. We're about 4 weeks behind on our episodes, so we're looking at about right around, I guess, Jeff, about Valentine's week. Yeah, this episode will be all ready to go. Jeff, the editing wizard, will get it all cleaned up here.
Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
All right, man. Take it easy. Have a good one.
Be good, man. See ya.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Roll the dice. says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then